Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. So today my group members are going to present about our research assignment entitled Gender Emotional Expression in Life and Social Media. So I'm Syazwanie Binti Malzelam. So let's move on to the introduction. Actually, this type of research had been done by other researchers from time ago, such as the King and Gordon 1998 or Kelly and Hudson Cornett's 1999. So move on to the background study of this assignment. So emotional expression definition in this context means that how people show or express their feelings, whether verbally or non-verbally. They can also express their feeling directly, such as through speech, or indirectly through social media. So each gender in this assignment are tested which are more emotional in expressing their feelings. So will be divided into three parts, which is part A, part B, and part C. For part A, there are two categories, which is for positive emotional words and negative emotional words. For part B, they are using a scale from never to always, which is 0% for never to 100% to always. So the respondents need to state how they show their feeling. And for part C, based on the four given situations, the respondents need to write some status using emotional lexical sentence. So move on to the research objective. There are three research objectives of this assignment, which is firstly to investigate the emotional lexical sentence used by both gender in life. Secondly, to distinguish the frequency usage of emotional markers in social media. And thirdly, to identify which gender are more emotional in social media. So, move on to the research question. We have made a set of questionnaire based on the research objective, which is part A, part B, and part C. For part A, respondents were asked to list emotional centers according to the class given, which is a positive and negative. For part B, respondents need to choose which scale are they in, ranging from never to always. And for questionnaire part C, the respondents are asked to express their feeling in form of writing based on the situation given. So move on to the literature review.
I am Sulwani Samsudin and I'm going to present literature review part. Okay, so let's first start with definition from social linguist point of view. So first, social linguist is Peter Trudgill and William Leboeuf. He said women speak a form of language more approaching the standard or more correct than men of a similar social background. So women use words that are more structured and does not use actual meaning in their sentence, while men use words that are more direct and straight to the point. Next, social linguist is by Nick in 2006. She said that women have better competence in emotion with higher productivity in emotional words. Next is Boyer, Stennis and Hack in 2003. They said that women tend to provide narratives that are longer, more detailed and vivid. So women likely to recall more emotional memories and need less time to remember their memories than men. Last is Deborah Tennant. She is actually a professor of linguistics at Georgetown of the University. In her book, You Just Don't Understand Men and Women in Conversation. So she said that the male as norm viewpoint is what has led many people to believe in the existence of any other kind of language, especially for women, as opposed to separate styles. So women and men style are different and they use different language in different style in their communication. So let's move on to the next related to this study. So first related to this study is by O'Keefe's study in 2004. He said that there are clear gender difference in emotion display rules, with males preferring behavior and action or expression modes and women preferring verbal or facial expression mode. So he means that women are likely to focus on solutions and implications of problem rather than men. Next is Rosin Parkin's study. She said that women are really more emotional, expressive gender in face-to-face communication. She also said that the frequency usage of expressional marker between males and females was close, but overall, it is proved that women are more emotionally expressive than men. Next is Kelly and Hudson Connie's study in 2002. They said that characteristic of women's emotion of happiness, sadness, and fear, while characteristic of men are more to angry emotions. In their study, they had found that the emotion of happiness, sadness, and fear are likely to be more to a woman, while men to be more emotion to the angry. So lastly is Snowbelin. He is the Stanford-trained linguist. So based on the ideology that women are more emotional, the normal claim is that women use more emotions. So from all these studies, it is clear that women are more emotional than men.
I'm Sharmimi Binti Yazid. I will present the methodology. Okay, first 3.1 research design. For the research design, we use all quantitative for every part of the questionnaire. For 3.2, which is research 2, there are 3 parts of the questionnaire. So the first part is part A, the free listing method. Part B, frequency of observing method. And part C, recent experience method. And part A is divided into 2 categories, which is positive emotional word and negative emotional word. The respondents are free to write anything that are related to the emotion. This category divided into 4 criteria, which is non-emotional, less emotional, emotional, and too emotional. For part B, the respondent need to answer based on the scale given, which are never, rarely, often, usually, and always. Okay, for part C, there are 4 situations given in the questionnaire. Respondents need to write the answer on how they update their status in social media based on the situation given. Okay, for 3.3 is respondent. We choose 20 respondents, is 10 male and 10 female, which are the second year of degree of English and Communication in UNIZA. The range of age between 21 to 24 years old. The respondent consists of Malay, Indian, and Chinese. Okay, 3.4 pilot study. Before we distribute our questionnaire to our targeted respondent, we choose 6 students of first year degree of English and Communication, which are 3 female and 3 male. The aim for this study is to act as our references to know whether the student understand or not our instruction of the questionnaire clearly. So after we analyze the result, we assume that our respondent can answer really well because from 5 to of 6 respondents can answer the question without any problem. That's all. Let's continue with the graph analysis. Okay, for part A, we use bar chart to analyze the result. We have the graph into 2 types of emotion, which is positive and negative. For positive emotion, we choose love, happy, enjoy, and excited. But I choose love, emotion of love for the graph because I think it is the most significant to show the positive emotion. Okay, let's look at the graph. Okay, at the non-emotional level, there are only 1 male and no male at this level. But at the less emotional level, the number of male respondents is higher than female respondents. The result for emotional level, the number of male and female respondents is the same. But surprisingly, at the two emotional level, only two female at this level and no male at this level. So we can conclude that in this level and in this graph, female is the most emotional in the emotion of love. So let's proceed with the negative emotion.
Now I will explain about the graph for the negative emotional lexical words. The negative emotional lexical words given to our respondents before were sad, angry, moody, and hate. But for the graph analysis, the most significant data that shows that male are higher than female is the word angry. So as we can see in the graph, at no emotional level, there are only one male respondents and there are no female. For the less emotional level, we can see that female are higher with 7 number of respondents than male, which is only 5. But for emotional level, we can see that male are higher than female, which with male with 4 respondents and 3 respondents for female. But for the two emotional level, there are no male or female that describe this angry words in emotionally. So to conclude, we can say that male are more emotional than female because they have a higher number of respondents in the emotional level than female. That's all.
I'm Siti Syafira Binti Asri, and I'm going to analyze for part B. So for part B, we give them 5 situations. So they need to scale it from never to always. So one of the result we have is for usage of additional letter. So for male, we found that none of male usually use it or always use additional letter in conversation in social media. In contrast, for female, we found that only 20% of female always use additional letter in conversation between both gender, while only 10% of female always use it in conversation between both, and only 20% of female use additional letter in conversation between male and female. So that's all for part B.
I'm gonna present about graph analysis for part C. So there is 4 situations in part C, but I will explain only for situation 1. So for situation 1, respondents need to respond how will they react in social media when their lecturer postpone the midterm test. So this is the pie chart that we got from the result for situation 1. We can see that the large pink area which represent female are bigger than the small blue area which represent men. So to conclude, female are more emotionally than men in expressing their feelings, thought. Thank you.
Move on to discussion. So for part A, our objective is to investigate the emotional lexical sentences used in both gender. So we divide it into positive emotion and negative emotion. And for positive emotion, we have happy, excited, enjoy, and love. So we found that female are more emotional than men, while for negative emotion, we have hate, angry, moody. We have hate, angry, moody, and sad. We found that female are more emotional than men. But exception on angry, we found that men are more emotional in terms of angry than female. So for part B, which is to distinguish the frequency usage of emotional marker in social media, we found that female are more emotional than male. Female always use emotional marker when they're chatting with both gender, with female and with male. Well, for part C, which is to identify which gender are more emotional in social media, we found that female also more emotional than male. So it's been proven that the stereotype that says that women are always emotional, either in real life or in social media. So, but there is a particular part where male are more emotional than female. But for the whole, female are obviously more emotional than male. So that's all.
I am Nurul Kamilah, Binti Safi. So I will present about the conclusion. The conclusion from this research is that women dominate the result for being emotional rather than men. It is because women and men, they use different cognitive way when they express their feelings. Women tend to be more emotional when they convey their feelings. I don't know if the men are too secretive or they really are less emotional. Next is women and men, they process their emotions differently. Women claim to be more empathic, whereby men, they tend to be more proud of themselves. And according to Fewich 1998, men are educated to be brave, not to show their weaknesses. Next is women have better conceptual knowledge in emotional terms, and men tend to minimize their usage of emotional expression because they think that it might threaten their control that is risky to their status. Okay. Women have more vocabulary to convey their emotion than men. The women, they use variety of pronouns, adjectives, and so on. Okay, next we move on to the recommendation. First of all is both gender need to learn the emotion management. They need to learn it because their emotion may be disturb their life, and emotion, the negative emotion will become a problem when it is expressed in a wrong way. Next is family need to teach them on how to control their feelings since they were young. Parents play important role to show their children the right way to express their feelings. They need to learn more about positive emotion rather than negative emotion. Next is they need to know how to aware about their emotion. They should think twice before they want to, for example, they want to update their status. They need to think before they post it online, because when they post it online, a whole world can know what is she feeling, what is she mood, and so on. Last but not least is they can try to avoid place or people that will bring out their worst. For example, when you feel mad, you should go to some place that can calm your feeling, that can calm your heart, and so on. And also you need to get fresh air to clear up your mind. Thus, in that way, you will feel a lot more better and feel not frustrated about your feelings. Okay, I think that's all from us. Thank you. Last but not least, let's watch our video about our finding in our research.